What up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Risen. If you are new here, my name is Kathy, and on this podcast, I discuss everything art-related, such as design, acting, and filmmaking. I also share some of my best tips for self-improvement and living your best life. So if you vibe with me, I would love for you to hit that follow button and turn on your notifications for Risen so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, feel free to share my podcast too. I always appreciate new listeners, and I'm always super grateful for current listeners just like you. So, thank you. In this episode, I'll be discussing my thoughts on being single. I'm really excited for this episode. So, let's get to it. I just want to start out by saying that if you are listening to this podcast and you're single, like me, by no means are you unworthy of love or unworthy of being loved. It also doesn't mean that you're less than anyone out there who is in a relationship, nor should you ever put yourself down or feel like you will never be in a relationship because maybe you've reached a certain age or you had a goal that you'd meet someone by now and time is running out, or you feel that time is running out. No, I want you to get that theory or idea out of your head right now, at this very instant. I also want to mention this. I can honestly say that society tends to put a lot of pressure on people who aren't in a relationship, whether it's done purposely or not. You see it in the media, you see it in commercials. You see it in real life, whether you're just taking an innocent stroll down the park and you see a couple holding hands or showing affection or what have you. It's totally normal to feel sad or maybe a sense of loneliness from time to time, but just know that no matter what the world throws at you, it's important to be happy with yourself and learn how to live a fulfilling life on your own before, let me say this again, before you can be with someone else and share your life with that person. Because what happens is when you start to look for all the happiness in your life in someone else or through someone else, you end up becoming so dependent on that person that you forget who you are, and that is not healthy by any means. Like if you ever break up with that person and you feel like you had invested so much on them and relied on finding all forms of fulfillment and happiness with just them, like if they ever leave you, you're literally back to square one and you won't know what to do. So please don't ever do that to yourself. Please learn to love yourself and value yourself first before you can love someone else. I think that's super important to always keep in mind. So that brings me to some of tips I wanted to share with y'all for making the best out of living a single life and opening your heart to a potential future relationship. One of the things I always say to people is always be open to trying new things and be open to putting yourself out there more, whether it's joining a community or volunteering or getting more involved in groups with like-minded people. You're essentially opening the doors for a potential future friendship that could turn into a relationship. And even if that friendship doesn't turn into a relationship, it's always great to just meet new people and connect with them in any way that you can. I personally, I hate dating apps and I hate dating sites. So if at all possible, please do yourself a favor and do me a favor and avoid dating apps. I just feel that, call me old school, but I feel that meeting people in person and meeting people naturally is the best way to go. Because I would honestly say that statistically, roughly speaking, I'd say about 80% of the time of people who are on dating apps are just looking to hook up. I mean, some dating sites and apps have worked for people in the past that I've, met before, or people that I've worked with, and, they're in a happy relationship now, and that's awesome, but I don't recommend these platforms because, again, the majority of the people are just looking to hook up, or they plan on ghosting you and they aren't looking for any serious type of commitment. Some people just enjoy getting a kick out of swiping left and right, and it's just, to me, it's just such a superficial way to get to know someone. In my humble opinion, I don't know, the apps are just not for me. I can say that from experience. I'm not someone who is into hooking up with people by any means. That's just not my cup of tea at all. And again, you can call me old school, but I feel like if a man is to come into my life, I would want to meet him naturally, and I would really want to get to know him and make sure we're committed to each other and on the same page before we move forward with anything. Another tip I have is to always work towards your personal goals and health, whether you're in a relationship or not. It's just fact. It's just essential to truly set time for yourself. If you work a 9 to 5, like me, and maybe you work from home, it's easy to get burnt out and feel like you don't want to do anything else. Just want to go to bed or just rest or do whatever. That's great. Do that. And definitely take an hour to unplug from whatever is usually keeping you from doing other personal things and working towards your personal goals. So you can start exercising if you don't normally do, or start journaling, or learning a new skill, or meditating. I would just say overall, find time throughout the day for yourself. Regardless of what activity you decide to do, make sure it's healthy for you. Make sure the activity that you're doing is healthy for you, and that it will benefit you in the long run the more that you do it. Don't be afraid to go out on your own. And I know that that's easier said than done, but definitely don't ever feel ashamed. If you're single, do not feel ashamed to go out to places that normally require or are typically seen in a light where, in order to have fun at that said place, you need to be in a group, or you need to be in a relationship, or or you shouldn't go alone, or you're weird if you show up alone. What's wrong with you? Oh my gosh, Like, don't ever feel that way, because I used to feel that way. A long time ago, I would be afraid to go out to like concerts or a restaurant or like a movie theater by myself, because I was afraid that people would look at me and be like, wow, this girl's weird. This girl's a loner. She has no friends. She has no boyfriend or whatever. And don't ever feel that way. So if you want to go out somewhere, whether it's going out to a restaurant, traveling to a different city or country, or going to a concert, or going to see a movie at the movie theater, going to a play, really any gathering or event, if you want to do that on your own, do it on your own, and don't ever be ashamed or care about what other people think, because you don't live for other people. I'm going to say that right now. You don't live for other people. You live for yourself, right? And if someone is meant to come into your life, then so be it. Then spend that time with them. But for right now, don't ever let anyone make you feel bad about yourself or put you down because you're single and you're going out to places on your own. And just because you are single and you go to these events, that doesn't mean you can't have fun on your own. I mean, if you have a good group of friends to go to these places with and hang out with them, definitely do that and make the best of it. But I assure you that you're going to learn so much about yourself, and you're going to build so much confidence by doing things that you've always wanted to do and have been afraid of, because you're afraid of what other people are going to say, I actually went to an open mic night the other day in my hometown, and it was awesome. It was awesome just seeing people perform who were somewhere close to my age, some were much older. But it was great to see people put themselves out there. There were some individuals who were going on stage for the very first time and they killed it. They sung songs, some original, some covers of popular artists. But again, it was just so great to see them do their thing, regardless of what age they were, regardless of whether or not they had come with someone to the open mic night or come on their own. It was really great to see that people aren't giving up on their dreams, that some people out there are just living life to the fullest and enjoying themselves and growing and learning and meeting other people along the way too. And I wanted to mention there was this much older man. I don't know if I should say his name. Well, he goes by the name of Uncle John. So Uncle John performed some original songs at the open mic night the other day, and he's like, they call me Uncle John because I don't have kids, but I'm a gosh darn uncle to my nephews. And he was just such a funny man. And at the very end of his performance, he gave out flyers for this show that his band was going to give in Reading, Mass. And after his performance, he said, "You know what, guys, I have this band. We're going to perform very soon. I'd love for you to come. And I'm going to hand out these flyers to you whether you like it or not." And everyone just started laughing. Because you don't normally run into people like that or come across people who are that confident, who just don't care about what other people think. And this man came to the open mic night alone. I don't know if he had a partner or not, but it just goes to show you that, you don't have to be a certain age to live out the life that you've always wanted to live. It's never too late to start enjoying yourself and enjoying your life and making a commitment to yourself about what you want out of life, what you want to learn, what you want to grow into, what your aspirations are. And it really hit home with me, that little snippet of comedy that he had there for the audience, just that self-confidence of, yeah, I might be 60 something years old. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up on my dreams and start a band and showcase it and hand out flyers, whether you like it or not. But yeah, that was awesome. I want to just briefly talk about, my history with dating and some lessons I've learned and I guess what I look for in a man that I hope you'll relate to. But before I get into that, another tip I had for people who are single is, again, going back to the whole idea of feeling pressured by society that you have to be in a relationship if you're single or else or something's going to happen. Like, no, that's not the ideal that you want to have in the back of your mind. If you are talking to someone currently, whether it's someone you're in a friendship with or whatever situation that you're in, I would advise to never ever rush into anything or jump into anything out of desperation, out of loneliness, out of sadness, out of anything, because what's going to happen is you jump into a relationship, you're happy for maybe a couple months, and then as time goes on, maybe you realize that the person that you had your hopes on or the person that you were talking to just isn't the right fit. And then over time, maybe things just start to disintegrate and dissipate, and you're like, man, I really thought this person was the one, and I guess they're not. And you never want to have regrets, and you never want to beat yourself up in any way. But I feel like when people rush into things, that tends to happen. You're all happy and jolly and fuzzy wuzzy first couple of months, and then a few months after, it's like you don't even know the person who you're with anymore, or you let yourself down or they let you down. So always get to know someone first before you can jump into any type of situation or any type of relationship with them, because that's just crucial. It's crucial for anything, whether it's relationship related or work related, really anything in life. You always want to take everything a step at a time and have faith and have hope that everything will fall into place and turn out the way that things are meant to be. That's what I have to say on that. And I've known so many people in the past that have rushed into relationships, and then they come to me and they're like, I should not have done that. I should not have felt a desperate need to find someone because, I'm at a certain age and I feel like I'm not gonna find the love of my life or whatever. So never feel like you have to rush into anything. Never give up hope at any point in time, because it's not a healthy way to live, to feel like the end is coming for you and you have to do things really, really fast or else. That's just not the way to go. So yeah, I guess we'll talk about my my dating experiences. I won't get into too much detail, just because it's a little traumatizing for me to talk about. But I do want to talk about how when I've dated in the past, and it's been like, oh my gosh, it is 2024. The last relationship I was in ended in 2019. So I want to say, it's been 5 years, maybe over 5 years that I've been in like a real committed relationship. But I've always felt like I was one of those people that also tend to rush into things, and it was not until a couple of years went by that I was like, crap, I probably shouldn't have jumped into anything so fast, because now I feel like the people who I've been in relationships with have probably turned out to not be maybe the people that I expected that they would be, which is why I always say, always get to know the people that you are interacting with before you get into a relationship with them. And quite frankly, my relationships, I feel like, never worked out, in part because of that, because of the rushing, but also in part because we just wanted different things and it wasn't the right time for us. And I always felt that I've always put in more effort into my previous relationships than the other person. And that's not healthy. You always want to have a 50-50 relationship where the other person is putting in just the same amount of effort that you are putting in. And you always want to have an open communication with them and always make sure that you're on the same page, that if you're getting into an argument or if you're starting to feel like you're drifting apart, talk about it with that person. See if there's a way to amend that relationship in some way. But if you've come to a point where it's just not possible anymore, then just move on. It's hard for people, I think, to move on, especially if they've become so attached to a particular person. But if a relationship just isn't working anymore, if you don't feel the same way that you used to about someone, keep going forward. I mean, wish the person well, but if you're attached to someone and they don't really feel the same way back, it's just going to go downhill, I feel, from there. And I'm not trying to be negative or be a downer or get dark in any way, but like I've said in the beginning, you need to focus on your health, your mental health, your well-being, your own, value. You work on self-love and do all that before you can say, all right, I'm ready to be in a relationship. Because, when you get into that type of situation where you're dealing with another person and they've maybe given up, or maybe they don't feel the same way back, you just know that you have yourself to run back to. You don't have to run back to them in any way, shape, or form. So that's definitely something that I wanted to advise those of you who are listening to me right now. Something that I've always found myself getting into, and this is separate from being in a serious committed relationship in the past, is meeting someone naturally, either through a group or through a mutual friend or through an event that I've been to or party or whatever. Meeting someone, getting to know them, right? Starting to talk to them, hanging out, right? Hanging out with them, and then feeling let down because I had the hope that they would want to form something beyond a friendship, and then realize that they don't. It's so frustrating. I don't know if this has happened to y'all. I'm sure it has, where you're talking to someone, you think that they really like you. Things are going well. They're going smooth. And you're starting to kind of like them too. And you go on maybe like one or two hangouts. I don't know if I could have called them dates at the time, but like one or two hangouts. And 2 or 3 weeks go by and they start to kind of drift away. And then you find out online or through a mutual friend that they have a partner already. And you're like, what the frick? Like, what just happened? I thought there was something there. I thought there was something special going on, but I guess not. And to me, it's been this consistent spinning wheel or spiral of like, meeting someone, getting to know them a little bit, them sort of sending mixed signals and you trying to pick up on them, but you don't want to show too much interest because you're afraid that they might reject you or they don't feel the same way. So overall, I think that having an open communication with someone, regardless of who they are, regardless of whether you're in a friendship, situationship, relationship, just keeping an open mind and being upfront about things that you find confusing and telling them about it, I think is very, very important. Number one, for you to not feel let down, and not get your hopes up so soon about that person. I think that's really important. And it's one of those things that's easier said than done, to go up to someone that you've been talking to for a while and be like, hey, do you like me? Are you serious about me? Like, what are we? Are we friends? Are we acquaintances? Are we, go fish guppies in a pile of, unshuffled cards? I don't know, take that metaphor as you will. But like, it's hard. It's hard to do that. But I feel like, again, the more confident you are in yourself, the more you start to learn to love and value yourself, the easier that idea of being more upfront with people will become. because you've learned, okay, even if this person who I'm talking to starts to disappear from my life, even if they've started to show interest and then not really, or have messed with my brain or playing mind games with me, even if they've done that, again, I still have myself. You still have yourself to run back to and to love and to cherish and to value no matter what. You know what I mean? Again, at the end of the day, you have you and only you know how to manage yourself and how to work with different situations. And that's all. That's really all that matters at the end. But if you have faced those type of experiences that I've mentioned, the whole, back and forth situation, spiraling situation, playing mind game situation, you're not alone. You're not alone in any way. It happens. People can be weird. People can disappear. People can be here one day and out the next, and you just don't know why. There's just no explanation. So always live a happy and fulfilling life within yourself, by yourself, before you can jump into anything. And even if you don't jump into anything in the future, whether it's by choice or whether things just don't happen at the right time, always love yourself. There was something else I wanted to mention here regarding dating. Overall, dating is just, it's tough. It's a tough world out there. I feel, dating is, like, I would say, more challenging than finding a job or getting an interview. Because I don't know, it's just, again, one of those things where you want to find some level of compatibility with the other person. You want to make sure they have hopefully the same interests and the same values that you do, and that they're in it for the long run and they're not just there to have a good time, to spend a good time. So dating is definitely challenging, but I would say it's not impossible. You just have to wear the right hats and know exactly what you're getting yourself into, and ask questions. Just not be afraid to ask questions and be upfront with people when you're getting to know them and when you're meeting them, and ask people what their intentions are. I mean, if you're shy and it's hard to do that, at least try to make your way through certain conversations and make clear what you want out of a situation, out of a relationship, out of something that you feel confused about. Because more often than not, I feel like people get into what's called situationships or relationships, and they don't really know what to expect or what they're going into. So always have, like I've said previously, an open communication about what you want or what you're looking for out of a relationship or a potential relationship. I feel that if a man is to come into my life, to be completely honest with you, I would want him to be a godly man, a hardworking man, someone that is just serious about being in a relationship with me and doesn't play mind games with me and doesn't make me think one day that they like me and the next day that they want nothing to do with me. So I hope that y'all find that person that you're looking for soon. But again, don't ever rush into anything, or don't ever feel like time is running out, because it's not. It's never too late to find love or for that person to come into your life. So to recap this episode, which I hope you've learned from and enjoyed and hopefully have related to, you don't need to be in a relationship to live a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life. Okay? Yes, the right person will come into your life someday, but if for some reason they don't, or they don't arrive at the time that you expect it, I can promise you that you will learn how to move forward and how to live a great life on your own. That's something I can say for a fact. It's always important to work towards your goals and ways to improve yourself. and truly, truly learn to fully love and value yourself before you can love anyone else. And don't ever be afraid to put yourself out there and go out to places on your own. Don't let society ever pressure you or make you feel bad about being single in any way, because that's not cool. I consider myself to be a very spiritual person, and I feel that God will bring someone into your life at the right time. So don't give up, don't lose hope, and always work on yourself and well-being before you jump into any type of relationship. And who knows, you may have already met the future love of your life, your future spouse, and it's possible that it's just not the right time right now for the two of you to be together. And that's okay. Just keep your head up and stay in the faith and work on you. And that's all you can really do, to be completely honest. Just know that time is never running out. And I feel that that's what people fear, that time is running out, and it's not. Just take every day one step at a time and live it as if it were your last, to be honest. Live every day as if it were your last. Be grateful, be kind, be generous, and have an open heart. All right, guys, that's the end of episode 4, the surprise episode for season 1. I hope y'all enjoyed that episode. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. Whether it's regarding this episode or previous episodes, or if there's a topic that you want me to discuss more in depth, I would be happy to hear from you. You can find me on social media at Kathy Tangarife. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and X. And if you don't already, like I mentioned in the beginning, please follow Risen. I really appreciate new listeners and current listeners. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.